All right, so now we're gonna palpate the bony landmarks of the wrist and hand. First, we're gonna put our hand into an anatomical position, right? Basically in supinated mode. And we're gonna start off with the styloid process of the radial. First, we gotta locate where the radial side is, which is basically the thumb side. And then the styloid process is gonna be on the lateral side, the bony structure right here, and you'll feel it right away. It's even more prominent if you adduct and abduct your wrist. To find the head of the radial, you basically move proximal to that, and it's going to be located where the elbow joint is, and it articulates with the ulnar and the distal portion of the humerus. And this allows basically for the pronation and supination of the arm. The next one is going to be the styloid process of the ulna. Again, we just got to locate where the ulna is, and the ulnar side is going to be where the pinky side is right here. And then the styloid process is going to be the bony structure on the medial side of the hand. Right, it's going to be right here, and you can feel it right away. And then the head basically is right next to it, where it articulates with the distal portion of the radius. Next one is we're going to look for the anatomical snuff box. And now the snuff box is just a depression, a triangle depression that you'll find by the dorsal portion of the thumb. And as you can see right here, it's going to be this deep depression right here. Historically, back in the day, I guess this was used as, you know, people with tobacco in there and then sniff it out. Hence why it's called the snuff box. The next one is we're going to be talking about the carpal bones. This one is going to be a little bit difficult because they are pretty tiny and they are located right here. The carpal bones is going to be right here. And we're going to start off. The easy way to palpate this is posteriorly, right here on the radial side, going around and coming back to it. So we're going to start off with the scaphoid. Now we have to locate the styloid process because the scaphoid is just right above that. So scaphoid right here, moving laterally, or depending on how you look at it, on this side, you move laterally, you will feel the lunate right above it, or as you can feel on the bottom, as like I'm doing right here. Right now I'm feeling I can palpate the pisiform. It's a really bony landmark right here. Underneath that, right before that, it's going to be your triquetrium, right? And as we move towards the middle, right, towards the radius, going back, right, pisiform right here, we have our hamate, we have our capitate, we have our trapezius right here, that's aligned with the index finger, and then the trapezium, which is going to be right here, right, which is aligned with the thumb. We're also going to palpate the metacarpals, and there are 5 of them. And where they're at is basically where they articulate with the carpal bones, and they're just going to be right distal from that. So there's one right here. That's one. There's 2. That's aligned with the index finger. 3, 4, and 5. And there's 5 because there's 5 fingers, right? And then we're going to do our phalanges, right? There's 14, 3 of each, except for your thumb, there's 2. So right where the metacarpals end, like I said, you have 2 for your thumb. There's 1 right here, and then 2. 3 for the rest of them, right? 1, 2, and 3. There's the proximal side, the middle, and then the distal side. Same with this one, proximal, middle, distal, right? This one as well, proximal, middle, distal, proximal, middle, and distal. Now there's 14 because there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 1, 2, 14. And that's it for the bony landmarks. So now we're gonna do the muscle of the wrist and hand. First off, we're gonna put our hand into an anatomical position, and then we're gonna try to distinguish where the flexors are and the extensors are. Flexors are all gonna be located on the medial side, originating on the medial aspect of the arm, specifically the medial epicondyle. Extensors on the lateral epicondyle. Okay. and we're gonna palpate the extensor carpi radialis longus. It's longest because it's long. It's originating from the supracondylar ridge of the humerus all the way to the base of the second metacarp. Now we can feel that, right? There's, you can see a tendon. You can feel a tendon right here on the base of it. All we have to do is follow that, right? Keep following it, and as I extend this finger, you'll see that there's a muscle right there contracting. Again, because it's an extensor, it's going to originate on that lateral side. This one's responsible for flexion of the wrist, extension of the wrist, and weak supination of it. Because of, let's say if you want to use your finger, index finger, as movement direction, it supinates it a little bit. Next is going to be the extensor carpi brevis, carpi radialis brevis. That one's going to originate on the lateral epicondyle, again, inserting on the second metacarpal, the base of the metacarpal, and all I have to do is locate that tendon when I keep extending that, and then follow it, right, as I extend that finger, and then you'll see right away, as you can see right there, the muscle that's contracting. Because it's an extensor, it's going to originate the lateral epicondyle. Next is the extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, so we know that this side is the radial side, so this should be the ulnar side. Okay, and how we find that is we adduct, okay, bring to the midline. We keep adducting that wrist, and you'll feel a tendon, right? Flex it, extend it, and adduct it. You feel that tendon. Basically, follow that tendon. Again, you see how I'm extending that pinky finger, and you see a muscle right there. Again, originating on the lateral epicondyle, right there. This movement is responsible for, obviously, flexion of the wrist, and because of where it inserts, it does what we call the ulnar deviation, basically moving it towards the midline. Lastly, the extensor digitorum. Okay, digitorum because it's for the fingers. Now this one, when I flex my hand and extend those fingers, you'll see tendons, all those tendons that are popping out. All I have to do is follow that, and it goes into one right here. And I'll extend my, look at how I extend my finger, and then I'll move it. And then you'll see a muscle right there contracting. Again, because it's an extensor, it's going to be originating right here on the lateral side of the arm, specifically the lateral epicondyle. Now again, this basically is the flexion of the wrist. Extension of the wrist. Next one is going to be the flexors. We're going to start off with the flexor carpi radialis. Okay, radialis meaning it's going to be on the radial side, right here. Flexor, we know that's going to originate on the medial epicondyle, so it's going to originate right here. So if we, I think it's more prominent on this side. Okay, so you see there's two tendons right here. One is for the radialis. All I have to do is follow that right here. This little tendon right there. I don't know if you can see it, and you can feel basically that muscle, and you just follow it. Again, because it's a flexor, it's gonna originate to the medial aspect of it. This one is basically, it flexes the elbow, and because of where it's located, it does what we call a radial deviation, basically abducting it away from the midline. Next one is indeed the flexor ulnaris. Okay, flexor ulnaris, again, just like how we did right here, because it's a flexor, it's going to originate on the medial portion, right? You'll feel a tendon right there, right? And then when I adduct it, you'll feel a muscle flex right here, and if you follow it, right, it's going to originate on the medial aspect. Again, flexor flexes it, does a little bit of a ulnar adduction, right? Ulnar deviation, not a little bit, but it does the ulnar deviation right there. And the last one is the palmaris longus. Okay, can't see it on this side, more on this side. Okay, so if I put my thumb and my pinky together, you'll see this middle tendon right there is really, you can really see, especially if I flex hard, right? And if I flex, you'll see muscles right here. Again, because it's a flexor, it will originate at the medial aspect of the forearm. Now this one basically does flexion of the wrist and a little bit of weak flexion of the elbow because it crosses the elbow down. That's it. Thank you.